Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Adrienne Montgomery. I'm with ERP VAR. We're going to be talking about Sage 100 Cloud, automated inventory cycle count, multi-bin WMS, and payment processing today. And I'm joined by Simon Quinn, sales manager over at CertiPro Solutions. He's going to be talking about the inventory cycle count solution. And Nick Young, product manager over at CertiPro Solution. Andrew Neal, Scanco, software sales specialist. And Patty Benitez, American Payment Solutions, vice president of channel. Thank you all for being with me today. And just a couple notes about the companies. CertiPro Solutions, it has over 25 years of experience with the Sage products in particular. They are based in Los Angeles, California, and they are certified developers, consultants, CPAs, and software programmers on staff over at CertiPro, and they specialize in warehouse management and building those solutions for e-commerce and inventory. And today we're focusing on their solution for inventory cycle counts with Sage 100. And Scanco's with us today. They are a leader in the WMS applications for Sage 100. They've been working with the Sage products for a very long time and been in business since 1989. Scanco meets the needs of thousands of distribution and manufacturing companies, and they have a seamlessly integrated WMS solution that resides on iOS, Android, and Windows devices so that the warehouse personnel can roam around the warehouse and do all the pick and packing and the scanning that's necessary with those remote devices. And Patty over at American Payment Solutions is going to talk about integrated credit card processing with Sage 100 and the click to pay right from the invoice, and their level 3 credit card processing and how they can get you the best rates by serving up all the information necessary in your Sage 100 system to the credit card processing providers to lower those rates. And just a little bit about the workflow here. We're going to be talking about how an order comes into Sage 100 and how CertiPro Solutions can automate the inventory cycle counts out in the warehouse, how Scanco does directed picking and auto select orders by fill rate, and helps manage the inventory items life cycle, optimizes the inventory, how Scanco also enables zone picking, and as I said, American Payment Solutions click to pay, and how American Payment Solutions can lower credit card processing rates. And with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Simon to kick it off here with the automated inventory cycle count solution. Thank you so much, Simon.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us this morning or this afternoon, wherever you might be. My name is Simon Quinn. I'm the Director of Sales for CertiPro Solutions. And today I'm going to show you how CertiPro's automated inventory cycle count, or AICC, if you will allow you to automate and simplify your inventory counts. So I'm going to give you an overview of the concept. I'll jump into the Sage functionality, and then we'll discuss some of the reporting options that you have. So using cycle counting to maintain high levels of accuracy is one of the best ways to identify problem areas. An effective cycle counting program like CertiPro's AICC eliminates the need for physical inventory expenses. By performing regular cycle counts, you give yourself an opportunity to compare the quantities in Sage to the quantities counted. And this variance is a powerful opportunity to identify where your inventory system is working well, where there's little variance, and where you may have a control issue that needs to be tightened up, where there's a high variance. And if you notice that your numbers are way off, you now have an opportunity to find out why the problem is happening and take corrective action. So keep in mind, using regular cycle counts allows you to take corrective action more frequently. For example, if you've performed monthly cycle counts, you have 12 opportunities to fix problems versus 1 when performing annual physical inventory counts. So CertiPro's automated inventory cycle count is going to configure all of this for you. An important difference between cycle counting and taking physical inventory annually: by having your warehouse staff perform cycle counts of segments of your inventory regularly, you negate the need for shutting down your operations for a weekend or a period of time just to make sure that your numbers are correct. Now, of course, closing down your business for any period of time is going to be costly, and paying your employees overtime to perform physical inventory counts can add up as well. So this is what our inventory cycle count can help you eliminate. You can imagine your day-to-day working life being made easier by being better organized with a clearly defined logic to your inventory planning process. So now I'm going to move over to Sage, and we'll jump into the software itself. So we've created the software under the inventory management in the physical count. So you'll see here the CPS inventory cycle count entry program is a module that we will install once you acquire the actual software. And opening that up, you will see that the program is a single screen user interface. It's very simple to use, very simple to manage. Now the warehouses up here are identified by using a code, either alpha or numeric, and you can scroll through the various codes with these arrows. So I'm going to populate this one, warehouse 000. Now each warehouse can have its own schedule. You can configure what time you want to generate the cycle count per warehouse, and you can set up automatic email notifications by warehouse. So you can see that I've selected warehouse 000, and these grids populated, and I just wanted to go through what each grid does. So the top grid is the filtering section. The middle grid represents the filtering choices and shows you what you have assigned into the cycle count intervals. And down on the bottom here is the summary based on your setup. It's going to show you how many items per day you're going to be counting. Jumping up to the filter checkboxes, here you can see you have it broken out by all valuations, all product types, all procurement. And by selecting or deselecting any one of these, you will see that the middle grid populates these items based on what you've chosen. So I'm going to filter down a little deeper here into these selections. I want to look at the standard unit price, and I want to select greater than, I want to look at all items that are greater than $1,000. And you can see that the middle grid automatically populates with those items here. So once you filter down to the specific sets of items, you can now go and perform your updates. So I already have the items showing here that are greater than $1,000. So now I want to assign them to an inventory cycle category and define how many times I want them to be counted. So before jumping into that, I'm going to talk about some of the abbreviations here and what they mean. So you'll see YCC here, which stands for yearly cycle count. So upon implementation or adding an item, it's going to have a value of -1, meaning that you have not touched those items yet. When you move them to 0, it means that you've added them to be inventoried and counted. You can also have a number from 1 to 52, meaning that you can assign an item to be counted once a week, once a month, or whatever interval you require. And the update's very simple. You just hit the corner, and it's going to highlight all of the items, and you can head down to the count frequency here and assign a number. So in this case, I'm going to assign a number of 12. And click on Assign, and you will see that all those numbers, the yearly cycle count, automatically updated to 12. You can also do this line item by line item manually, or you can select multiple line items and assign a value that way. Regarding these items, it's important to point out that here you can export any of these items or import from Excel at any given point. Jumping back to the abbreviations, RC is the remaining count. So this is a very powerful tool that allows you to set up items that are going to be discontinued. We know that some items are not going to be in your inventory perpetually, so this basically allows you to define how many more times you want that item to be counted. So once that number is set, it will automatically fall off the count process once it reaches 0, and it will also automatically update the yearly cycle count, or the YCC, to 0. So for FCNT, which is force count next time, FCAT, force count all the time, and hold. Hold basically means that in every warehouse there are scenarios where you're going to be pulling certain items temporarily to hold, and you don't want those items to be included in the count until the item is released back into inventory. For FCNT, or force count next time, if you find a discrepancy on an item and you want it to be resolved as soon as possible, the item in question might be scheduled for a count 2 months from now, for example, but you don't want to wait. So by checking this box, it's going to generate the cycle count for you, and that item is going to be included on the next count. Jumping up to the upper right-hand corner to the scheduler, you will see that you have the option to schedule the cycle counts automatically. As you will see, we're simply using the task scheduler from Sage 100. And here you can schedule what days of the week that you actually want to run the cycle counts. Clicking on Active Warehouse, this is where you will manage the warehouses. If you have multiple warehouses, it allows you to either have them enabled or not. Now, jumping to the options screen, this is the tool that allows you to add emails for those individuals that are going to receive the count sheet that's going to be emailed. So you can edit those here. There's also a number of different operations here that you can select for the generation process. For example, the one that's selected here, rollover YCC count from large to small, it's a very helpful option for A, B, and C item rankings. Once all of the A items have been counted, it's going to start to pull items from the B category to maintain the same number of items to be counted per day. Jumping over to the drop-down, here we have the exception days, and the exception days allows you to enter the days where the cycle count should be skipped. Now, these can be either holidays or vacation days. The holiday type, for example, will apply to all warehouses, and the vacation type will apply to a single warehouse. Now, while these counts are generated automatically, usually about 2 a.m. in the morning, and an email is sent up, you can also do a manual generation at any given time that will allow you to generate a count. So once the cycle count has been created, let's go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet that is delivered via email to the assigned warehouse team. So once they get the email and they open it up, you'll see that they get this CSV file that tells you what needs to be counted. So here you have the item description, the bin location, and the last date that's counted, as well as additional information. Now, if you're using a scanner, and look, Andrew's going to go through from Scanco and show you how this works. This will also push this spreadsheet into the scanner, and you can go ahead and do the counts using the scanners. Now I'm going to jump into the physical count entry program, and here you will see the lines. So I've already populated it with warehouse code 000, and if I look at the items, and here's the actual items that needed to be counted, and this is where you will put in the numbers from the count. So once all of this has been completed, the cycle count has been run, you obviously want to know what the results are. You know, how accurate is my inventory? And for this reason, we've created an explorer called CPS Inventory Cycle Count History. And so what this is the place where you're going to find the items that not only have a discrepancy, but also all of the items that you've counted throughout the year that have been accurate. Here you can look at how many items are being counted each day, what was the counted quantity, and additional information is needed. It's completely customizable, and for those users that are familiar with Explorer, you can drag and drop fields and use filters to analyze the data. You can also export this to Excel. So with that, I am going to hand this over to Andrew from Scanco, and I know that there's going to be many questions that might come up. And I know at the end of this, we'll have time to go through and answer those, but you can reach out to me directly to email or call me, and I can set up a demo for you as needed and do a deeper dive. So with that, Andrew, over to you. Thanks for everybody.
All right. Thank you very much, Simon. Again, my name is Andrew Neal, and I am from Scanco. I'm a software sales specialist here. And so just as Adrian had said, what we're really going to dive into today is our directed picking and how we can really leverage and take full advantage of what we have in our Sage system. That way we can take full advantage and better control of our inventory and how we actually fulfill our orders and build those customer relationships. Before I do that, though, I do want to tie into what Simon had said and a little bit of a really good idea to really start as a good price point when it comes to your physical counts. It's coming up to the end of the year, and a lot of you are probably going to be doing your end of year physical counts, whether they be cycle counts or full physicals. And so one of the things that I wanted to dive into today is our mobility application. So really, what is mobility? Mobility, first off, is a philosophy, and that we want everybody to be mobile, and whether that be through the manufacturing process, warehouse, or even field service, we here at Scanco, we take that mobile applications and take that a step further for everything that you're needing to collect out in your day-to-day activities. And then what mobility also is mobility is actually an application that is downloadable from the Apple iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. And why I'm really pointing this out here today is for all of you customers that owns the Sage 2018 or are thinking about upgrading to Sage 2018, basically what you will get is if you have that mobility, or I should say barcode module, that is going to be rebranded now to what's called the Mobility for Barcode module. And why this is really important here today is because once you have both of those things, having been on Sage 2018 and having that Mobility for Barcode module, what you will receive from Sage is 5 free physical count licenses of our physical count transaction from our handhelds. And so this is literally zero cost. You would be able to download these onto your mobile devices, whether they be iOS or Android devices. And then you could literally start doing everything that Simon had shown you on a mobile application. The only thing that you might want to run into as far as having a cost associated with it would be any kind of handheld scanners that you might want to incorporate with that. So just very quickly, how would you actually go about actually activating that? Well, once you go into your module listing and you have that Mobility for Barcode module, what you will want to go is go to that setup option right here. And once you go through the setup option, it's actually designed to be user-friendly, and it should be able to be done in a matter of minutes. Now, once you run that wizard, at the end of that, that'll give you the credentials for your 5 free physical count licenses. And just as I had said here before, what you actually get included with it, you get the mobility application, which just does the physical count transaction. You'll be able to do your physical counts, have a quick count review, and it even links up pictures if you have them in Sage. Just as also a side note, if you actually upgrade to Sage 2018C, in addition to the physical count licenses that you get for free, you will also get 5 free of our Scanco sales licenses, which we could also talk about at a later webinar. As far as hardware and really what you can expect, just as I had said before, we work on Apple iOS and also Android devices. So some scanners, they have different price points, and really it really depends on your environment and each specific customer's needs. So as you can see on the left here, what we have is an iOS device, and it actually has almost like an OtterBox type case that actually encapsulates either that iPod or iPhone. And then it actually has that built-in imager to do the data collection as you're walking throughout your facility and wanting to capture those barcodes. Or we also have all-in-one devices like you're seeing on the right. In this case, that would be an Android device that actually is an all-in-one device and has that built-in imager right built into it. So as you can see, we can use many different devices, and depending on your needs, we can work with you on that. So just one more tidbit, like we said, if you want to actually take advantage of this Sage Mobility and get those 5 free physical count licenses, what you'll want to do is you can either contact Sage directly, you can contact your Sage partner, or as I was showing you before, it's a very simple few steps to just actually activate it there yourself. So with that said, now what I'm actually going to do is show you how that actually looks on the handheld. So let me go here. All right. So once we actually, as Simon was showing you, once we actually have our list and everything as far as what we want to count, whether that be a cycle count or end of year count, what we will want to do, and let me just open this up here real quick. I'm going to bring my device up here onto the screen. So what I actually have here is I'm actually sharing my screen over here, and let me just make this a little bit bigger for everybody. I don't know why it's not All right. So as you can see here, I'm actually sharing my device screen. I'm using what's called an iPod in a Linear Pro here today. And so as you can see, I'm scrolling here, and all of our Scanco applications are applications that can be downloaded right on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. So what I'm going to dive into is I'm going to go into our Scanco Warehouse 100 application, and we're going to dive into this physical count transaction. Now, the great thing about our devices and how we do our licenses is we sell it by a license, but you could have as many user profiles share that license. So you could have one scanner, and you can have 10, 12, 15 employees, as many as you want, share those scanners. What they would do is they're going to log into the screen, and I'm going to log in with my user credentials. And once I actually log in with those user credentials, what it's going to ask me next is our company that we're going to be working within. Just as Simon was showing there before, if we need to work within different company codes, this is where we would select each company code that we would want to work within. At which point in time, as you can see here, we have quite a few different transactions that we can perform and send to Sage, but what we're going to focus in on here today is our physical count transaction. So right there, directly in the middle, I'm going to select that physical count transaction. Now, basically, once in a typical scenario, once that those products for a cycle count are determined to be counted, that is going to be the only thing that's going to be shown on this device. So we have quite a few different ways that we can actually configure the actual collection of the physical count, but just imagine that you have that list of go to these certain bins and start counting them. Now, for today's demonstration, I am going to scan my item. Once I scan my item, at which point in time it's going to want me to verify that bin. Now, just as I had scanned that item number beforehand, I could scan that again, but we're not limited to only just scanning. What we are also able to do is at the very top of the screen, we have a magnifying glass, and that magnifying glass acts as like a drill down box. So if I hit that magnifying glass, this is talking real time with my Sage inventory system. And so it's going to give me all the available bins that that item is in. So all it's wanting to do is confirm that I'm actually counting the right bin, at which point in time, this is where I would count my items. I can type in the quantity that I'm actually counting. I hit done, and now I would move to the next item. Now that was a standard item that I just showed there. And what I want to show next is a lotted item. So once I scan my lotted item, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to ask me to verify which bin I'm actually counting in. Once I select that bin, now because it's a lotted item, now what it's actually wanting me to do is say, what lot am I actually collecting here? Now, as again, because our software is very versatile in what we're actually able to do, what you're noticing on the very bottom part of the screen there is we actually have a keyboard. So once again, you could scan that lot number, or if the user wants to simply just type it in as a November lot, I can say it's a November 1 lot. I hit return, I enter in the quantity that I am counting, and then once I hit done, I would move to the next item. And as you can imagine, this process would continue along until we are actually done. Once we are done, at which point in time, I'm going to send this information into Sage, and this is going to talk real time with my Sage inventory system. Now I'm going to dive into my physical count entry, at which point in time I will verify which warehouse I am counting in, and then I will go to my lines tab. At which point in time, now what I'm able to do is check out what has been sent into Sage, as we can see the 250 of the standard item that we had counted. And then finally, that November 1st lot that we had counted with our 8971 item and the 300 that we counted there. So as you can imagine, instead of having that traditional pen and paper where people are actually having to write this down and the time that it takes for the data entry, and as I like to say from my previous life and actually having to do this, is the hieroglyphs of the people that are actually writing this down on a piece of paper. Is it a 7? Is it a 1? You know, not always is the person that's counting the items the person that's actually entering this data in. So sometimes it can be very cumbersome, and where we actually see it right there is where a lot of the time savings and actually the errors are dramatically decreased, making your physical count that much easier. And with all this information going seamlessly into your Sage environment, Now all of a sudden you have a quicker response time to check your variances and finish your physical count in a better manner there. So that right there is just how we could actually leverage with the scanners, how we can take that physical count and what Simon had shown you to the next level. Now, the next thing that I want to go ahead and show you is what's called our directed picking, or more specifically, what we like to call here at Scanco, our wave batch. Now, our wave batch, especially here in customers that have a lot of orders that they're wanting to ship out, maybe they're food and they want to separate their dry goods from their cold goods and how they actually pick them, or maybe you have different customer priority codes. So maybe you have your Home Depots that you want to treat better, and you want to fulfill those orders before another customer. And so an application right here like this is where it comes really in handy. So what you can do is right here from our wave pick, it's generally what it's going to do is we're generating pick lists. And so I'll just start here and talk about it, how the system intellectually tracks which orders have been selected and printed already to determine which orders are still available to ship, taking away the worry from the user. You can expedite orders through a process of auto-selecting by fill rate or using the ship complete option, lowering the additional freight costs of multiple shipments, right? So we can do a lot of different things with this. And so I just want to start here on the top. And just as Simon had shown you before, we can narrow this down. So we can say we only want to ship a date range between a certain date range of certain orders. Or maybe you want to select a certain fill rate. So in order to decrease the amount of shipping costs that I have and the amount of back orders that I have, maybe I can change this right here to say, you know what? I only want orders that are 75% to 100% complete, right? And then you can also, as you can see here, you can select promise date ranges, order number ranges, warehouse codes, etc. And at which point in time, once you do that and select the parameters of what you're actually doing, that is when it's going to give you the orders that you can actually pick and that are available to pick. As I was saying before, you can actually have different region codes and location types. And depending, because this is such a highly customizable program, what I would actually suggest is if someone actually is thinking about this or would find a very high value in this, is to take my information at the very end of this presentation and actually contact us, because what we would want to do is do a discovery call, get to your processes and find out really what your needs are. You know, and find out what your priorities are as far as picking, because as you can imagine, everybody has a different way of picking. There's no one right way. It really determines what's best for your practice and what's best for your business. So with that, I'm going to hand this back over to Patty, and we can go with the advanced payment solutions. Patty?
Thank you so much, Andrew, and great presentation so far. From the inventory cycle count all the way through to making sure that you pick the right items so that you can deliver the right items to your customers and therefore get paid for them. You can see that the items that we've been showing you, the enhancements, are completely automated, secure, and compliant. And now let's find out how to better get you paid. Now, typically, I like to go through a brief explanation, credit card processing 101, and explain to you exactly how it is that American Payment Solutions can save you money. I will touch upon that as soon as I show you our newest feature available at no charge to any American Payment Solutions merchant. Yes, we do install it, set it up, and train you at absolutely no charge, and it is called Click to Pay. Now, Click to Pay is completely optional. Once you do decide that you'd like to use it, you can also include ACH payments, not only credit cards. So it's up to you. And the screen that you're looking at right now is Library Master Company Maintenance. This is where we would turn on the Click to Pay. And then keep this as a mental note right now, level 3 processing. I really want to emphasize on level 3 processing, because you will be able to continue taking advantage of the lowest rates available in the industry through level 3 processing and Click to Pay. We also allow you to accept multi-currency, and you can set up Click to Pay to be your default customer option by opting out by customer, or the other way around, as you can see here, opt in by customer. In my case, I would like to opt out by customer. So this is what's going to happen with that type of default that I chose. In the customer maintenance screen, you're going to notice a new checkbox called Click to Pay Opt Out in this case. Everything else regarding credit card processing remains very much standard Sage functionality. You won't miss out on anything at all. Everything continues to look the same if you're using American Payment Solutions. As you can see, you can set up multiple card types per customer. We are fully PCI compliant. We tokenize the cards and then allow you to see the last 4 digits of the card. So you have nothing to worry about when it comes to compliance. We also provide assistance with PCI compliance at no charge. Now, what I did while everybody was presenting, as an end user, I created my invoices and printed them out using paperless Office. Now, I'm going to jump to the end user side of things, okay? So once you printed out the invoice, your customer is going to receive an email with a copy of the invoice. They're going to look at their invoice, and it's a standard crystal form, and now they're going to be able to see a Pay Here button. So this can be done with your invoice or with your statement. In my case, I chose an invoice. Now, when I click on the Pay Here button, notice the level of detail that they will be able to see online using Click to Pay. They'll be able to see not only their contact information, invoice, and amount, but we go down to the line level detail, of course, of the invoice. Once your customer decides to make a payment, notice how they will also have access to view any additional invoices that they might want to pay. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the drop down here. Bear with me. So you can see this particular customer is one of the worst because they have tons of invoices that are open. So they can pick and choose which invoices they'd like to pay and pay the full amount or pay a custom amount. So let's just say in this case, I'm paying for one invoice. I'm going to go ahead and continue. I could enter a brand new card number. I could use my bank account, provided I was given that option. I could save this payment method for future use or use a previously saved payment method. It's entirely up to me. Now, if I decide to key in a credit card, since we have a payment method that was previously used, I can just click there and it will auto-populate for me, and then all I have to do is key in the validation code or the CVV code. All of this, once again, PCI compliant and completely automated. Once I submit my payment, I will get a notification that the payment has gone through successfully. I can also set it up for the customer to receive an email indicating, hey, thank you for your payment, or any type of message you'd like to send. Now, as far as the customer is concerned, their transaction is complete, they've made their payment, they're happy. Let's go back to you and how you would accept this payment in Sage 100. Now, just to make sure everybody knows, Click to Pay is very simple. It basically allows you to use paperless Office to print out your invoices as usual, and we've simply added the Pay Here button on the body of the paperless Office invoice. Now, our customers have made their payments throughout the day. This is the difference that you will see in the cash receipts deposit. Now, notice I'm really not doing anything outside of the ordinary. I simply went into accounts receivable cash receipts. And now, if I click on the Click to Pay button, notice how the information that was just paid will populate within my cash receipts deposit. I'm going to accept this and jump right into the cash receipts entry. All I have to do here is go through my customers, and I will be able to see the line items of the payments they made for that particular time or during the particular time prior to my update. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We will take payments from your customer and deliver them to you straight into Sage 100 without you having to take any extra steps other than clicking on the Click to Pay button. Now, I promised you at the beginning that I was going to talk with you a little bit about level 3 processing. It's crucial that you understand exactly how level 3 works. And the reason that I'd like to mention it is because 80% of companies do not understand level 3 and do not take advantage of level 3. In a nutshell, level 3 is basically a program that was put in place by Visa and MasterCard, which offers to lower your rate in half when you process a business-to-business or business-to-government transaction. Sometimes the rate can go considerably much lower than half. We've actually seen the rates go down to 0.03%. Now, you'll see the average savings once you do process with level 3 is about $18,000 per year. In order to obtain the level 3 rates, you have to supply Visa and MasterCard with about 13 data fields. Needless to say, you won't have time to do this on your own. So we have actually automated the process. We take the fields from Sage, deliver them to Visa MasterCard, and get you the lowest rate possible in the industry. These are the rates that are required. You can see them on the screen. And ladies and gentlemen, this is being recorded, so you will get a copy of the recording. But if you ever would like to see further detail regarding how to obtain level 3 rates and what exactly those rates are, contact me and I'll be happy to show you. Now here's a clear example, a true customer of ours, the level of savings that we were able to provide by simply offering them the level 3 savings. And you can see close to $17,000 a year. They had to do absolutely nothing different. Their workflow process remained the same. We took care of everything in the back end. Now, before I continue, I do want to show you the different rate structures and why they're very dangerous. Most of you are happy with your flat rates. Guess what? If you have a flat rate contract, you cannot take advantage of level 3 rates because your contract stipulates a specific rate. So that's it. If you have a tiered pricing type of contract, your processor controls which tier each of the transactions fall under. So as much as we try, we've actually analyzed thousands of statements that have tiered pricing. We've tried to understand what the qualification criteria is. We've even gone as far as to have our customers ask their processor, to explain it a little bit better. There is really no answer. The processor decides where each transaction will fall into or under. And 90% of the time we find it falls under the non-qualified or more expensive criteria. We typically recommend Interchange Plus. Interchange Plus is basically the most transparent type of fee structures because it takes the hard cost from the card brand and passes it along to the merchant. In this case, the merchant can then negotiate a transaction fee or a markup fee with the processor, and that's typically what we like to follow. Now, once you do take advantage of level 3, there are many other features that we offer, and you can see them on the screen. We do not charge for installation, setup, training, maintenance, or support. There are no module fees. Level 3 processing is completely automated, and anyone who doesn't want to take advantage of that is beyond me because, ladies and gentlemen, you're leaving money on the table. If you're curious about finding out how much you can save through level 3, we provide free audits of your current processor's rates and fees. No strings attached. We will teach you where the fees are coming from, who exactly is making the money where, and then we'll show you where there's room for savings. We also provide 12-hour funding. So if you batch out by 9 p.m. Eastern time, the funds will be available in your bank account the next morning before 9 a.m. We offer American Express Ops Blue, which is a program similar to Level 3, not as aggressive, but will still get you a savings. I mentioned throughout the presentation the free PCI support. We take it an extra step here. We do not use a third-party company for PCI compliance or assistance with self-assessment questionnaires. We do this internally. We have a team dedicated exclusively to making sure either you become PCI compliant or remain PCI compliant. We offer 24/7 live support. Yes, you will have a live human being on the other side of the line anytime you call our support team. We offer very transparent merchant statements. By line item, we indicate exactly what the card brands are sending you or are offering you as far as rates, and we guarantee our rates in writing. We also offer a migration utility. Anybody switching from Sage Payments or Paya, we will be able to migrate your credit card information so you won't have to rekey it all in again. Now, remember, if you are interested in a free audit, it's very simple. All you have to do is send us 3 of your most current merchant statements. 3 or 2 would be enough. We will then contact you within 24 hours and provide you with the results and continue from that point forward. With that, I'd like to hand it right back over to you, Adrienne.
Thank you so much, everybody. And Patty, Andrew, and Simon, great presentations. We really appreciate you showing us all your solutions. And with that said, I am going to go ahead and close this webinar out and wish everybody an awesome weekend. Thank you. Take care.